We didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I was just saying I need to just stay away from the power lines.
Yes,
Right.
please, and thank you.
Yeah, get you a desk job. All right. Does anybody have any questions or comments before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Can I know we finished up the Eightfold Path last week. So can somebody just recap as best they can kind of what we talked about last week?
Yeah, we talked about being in a right meditative state. So realizing that your thoughts are not a part of you, and basically that'll help you stay into the meditative state. And the conversation moved to people talking about their own process and their journeys, and how setting the standard for yourself can cause suffering as well. So yeah, that's a quick recap of what we talked about last week.
Can somebody please add on to that?
We talked about the Sama Samadhi, to see things as it is, to just observe it. Talked about the five hindrances. Was it ill will, uh, the senses, like what did I write down? The sloth, the restlessness, and the doubt.
Perfect.
That's what we talked
Yeah, and you all, just to let you know, before the next person goes, everybody here has the luxury of actually taking notes. Me and instructor Nate talked earlier about, instructor, he never allowed anybody to take notes. And if he saw you with a notebook, he'd tell you to put it away. And the ideology behind it is that you are the living notebook. So, you write it in your mind, let it toil in you, and then it becomes a part of you. But I personally like taking notes just so I have something to refer back to. So I'm not against it. But just know that it's definitely a luxury to take notes. Anybody else have anything to add about last week? All right. Well, if not, today we are going to talk about the chakras. So part of this whole informative path that we're on is in preparation for upcoming Greenbelt test in January. So because we do have short time, we are going to cover 2 chakras a week instead of just one. So tonight will be the Muladhara chakra, which is the root chakra, and the Svadhisthana chakra, which is the sacral chakra. So before we get started, does anybody have any questions or comments or anything about that? Instructor said, you got anything before we get started?
Nope, not at all. Peace, everybody.
Yeah, thanks for
Peace and
being here
love,
too.
instructor.
Peace, instructor.
All right. So before we get into the chakras, we want to lay some foundational information, and it would basically be doing you guys a disservice to just jump straight into the chakras without laying a foundation. So we start with something that we often talk about in the dojo, which is ki, chi, or prana is what it's called, in India. And that's your vital life energy or life force. And it's composed of 2 types of forces. Does anybody know what those are? I know you've all saw a pictorial representation of it.
Is it yin and yang?
Yin and yang.
Exactly. Yep. Yin and yang. So you have yin and yang, which are two types of energy forces, and it can be, considered positive or negative, but only in polarity, not like negative and bad and positive and good. But, like electricity, we have positive and negative polarities or charges. So it's the same with this type of energy, or the yin and yang, positive and negative. And that particular energy flows through a network of pathways that circulate all over the body. And each different cultures have different names for it. So in Thailand, it's called Sen, Sen. In India, it's called nadis. In China, Tibet, and Japan, we call them meridians or channels. So it's all pointing to the same energetic pathways, but just called by different names depending on who you ask. And in India, it said that there are over 72,000 of these energetic pathways in which energy can flow. But tonight we're going to talk about the three most important ones, and it's called the Ida, IDA, or Ida. I'm not sure what's the best way to pronounce it. The Pingala and the Sushumna. That's the three energy channels. So the Sushumna is an energy channel that flows straight up and down the spine. It flows in a vertical direction, and it starts at the base of the spine, and it goes up to the crown of the head, and it carries Kundalini energy or life force. I got you. So that's the Sushumna, which travels straight up and down. And then you have the Ida and the Pingala, which go in a crisscross direction up the Sushumna. So I know you've all seen the the Kundalini snake and the serpent energy and all of that stuff. That's just a pictorial representation of the traveling of the energy through the Pingala and the Ida. Any questions or comments so far?
I actually have a question. Is the Ida and Pingala differentiated? Like is one on the right, one positive, one negative? Are they differentiated in that way?
Yep, they are. And that's that was actually coming next. Give me 2
Okay.
seconds. I just need to send this link. Hold on.
Yep. Take your time.
All right. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right. So the Ida is on the left, and the Pingala is on the right. And so if you could picture this. Can everybody mute themselves? I'm not even sure who that was. Sorry about that. But yeah, so this would be best if I could draw it, but if you could just picture it in your mind. So they both start at the base of the spine, and then each they make a curve, and in that curve they cross, and then they make another curve, going the opposite way, and they cross. So each of them have 6 subsections because they go up, and when they cross, that makes another subsection. So it'll be 12 channels. So 6 yin and 6 yang. And the crossings are where the chakras come in at. So when the Pingala and the Ida, they cross the Sushumna, that's where we get the chakras. It's a meeting place or a crossing point of those nadis. All right,
I'll
so
get
that's where.
I'll get a
Huh?
picture of it in a second. I was just looking at that. So I'll get a picture. If you keep going, I'll share my screen.
All right, perfect. That'd be cool. Yep. So in all, it'll be 12 paired meridians, and in those meridians, they cross 6 times, and those will be the 6 chakras that are located on the body, minus the crown. The crown is outside of the body. So that's kind of where we get the chakras from, is those crossings of energy. So does that make sense, kind of, so far?
Yes, can you spell, is it Pingala?
Yeah, Pingala.
Okay, that's what I had. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. That's not the difficult one. The difficult one is Sushumna.
That was my next question.
Yeah, it's SUH. I mean, hold on, my bad. SUSHUMNA. Sushumna. Got it?
Yes.
All right. So just a quick, like 30-second recap. So we have energy, ki, chi, prana, which all means the same thing, which is vital life force energy. And that life force energy has to flow through somewhere to get from point A to point B. And so it flows through meridians, channels, or nadis, in which we have approximately 72,000 pathways for the energy to flow. So not talking about all of them, but the 3 most important ones are the ones that we're going to talk about are the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushumna. The Sushumna travels vertically, and the Ida and the Pingala, they crisscross, going from the base of the spine up to the nostrils. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yep. So that's another reason why breathing is so important, because you do have those energy channels that flow, and they terminate right at the nostrils. All right. So now that we have the background or the baseline information, now we can get into the chakras. So chakra is or chakra, however you want to pronounce it, is a Sanskrit word meaning wheel or vortex. And it refers to the 7 energy centers of which your consciousness or your energy system is composed. So we said 6 are located, on the body, and then the crown is on the head. So that's where we get 7 from. All of your perceptions, all of your senses, all of your thought process, and all of your states of being, of which you are capable, are located within this particular energy system. And for, to sum it all up, we just call that your consciousness. Your consciousness can be divided into 7 categories, and each of these is associated with a particular energy center or chakra. Your consciousness is an energy system. It is composed of different densities of energy in a state of movement. So the vibration is what determines which chakra is which. So each of them vibrate at a different frequency. So the same way that your vibration differentiates you from the rock or from the wall or, from water, because we just are all composed of energy vibrating at different rates or, different hertz. It's the same with the chakras. They vibrate at different frequencies. The energy can either flow smoothly, which equates to a state of wholeness, or the energy can be blocked, which equates to a state of tension. The the functioning of the chakras reflect your decisions that you make and how you choose to respond to the conditions in your life. And that's why these are important. It's not just, information to add to the information bank. Like, they literally have an impact on your life and on your well-being and, how you see things and all of that. When there is residual tension in your consciousness about something that has happened in your life, it is as though the tension affects the smooth functioning of your open and close valve in your energy system. So it's literally like a blockage. So when you have these, certain blockages and you deal with certain things, the flow of energy is not smooth, is blocked up. It's literally like you have debris in the way of energy moving smoothly. And another thing that, a lot of people don't often talk about is that the chakras are also associated with your endocrine glands and also a group of nerves called the plexus. So most of us are familiar with the solar plexus, which is like right in the center where the chest and the stomach meet. So a plexus is just a meeting point or a bundle of nerves. So that's just one of them in the solar plexus. When you experience tension in a certain part of your consciousness, that tension is then transmitted to the endocrine gland associated with that chakra. So, for example, we have the solar plexus, which is also a chakra. So when you have tension in that area, the gland that is associated with that is now being affected as well. So things that happen in our energy body carry over and affect our actual physical body. You can't separate the two. It's all one body, just differentiated into different subsections. And the endocrine glands secrete hormones which change the chemistry of the body. Thus, a change in consciousness creates change in the body chemistry, depending upon the needs of the moment. Any questions or comments so far up to this point?
Somebody got to have a question. There was a lot going on in that. There's a
I
whole
was
lot.
gonna say that that's a whole lot.
Yeah, that's a lot going on. Somebody have to have a question. It's just
We
talking
got
about the connection of the chakras to the physical body and an example of it. So that was some good stuff.
No questions here. It all made sense. I just needed this information a couple years ago.
I'm gonna share my screen with these pictures I have. So take a screenshot or something. Or do we have a chat for this group? Is there a chat that everybody is in?
Nope.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, you can share it, and then you can just put it in the community chat, and then I'll make sure everybody gets it.
Okay, bet.
You sharing your screen?
Yeah, I have like 3 different pictures.
Okay, it hasn't came up yet.
Yeah, so I know I just need to share it. I haven't actually shared it yet.
I do have a question. I just saw Kimmy put a picture of the Pingala, Ida, and Shuma, and in that picture it shows Pingala on the starting on the right, but when it gets to the heart, it's on the left. Do we know? I don't know if you said if Pingala is yin or yang energy.
So uh the Ida is on the left, Pingala is on the right. Um,
They switch.
yeah,
They
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 sw-
they
they do
weave in
switch.
and out. So as they cross a energy center, they switch polarity at every center. And one of the pictures I just posted in there kind of speaks to that.
Overstood. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually a good question though, because the polarity switching is an indication that energy is flowing in one way and out the other way. So one side is receiving and the other side is producing energy.
The reason for the question stems from um, when we do have blockages in our energy centers and they've manifested themselves physically in getting to the root of that problem or that blockage, it would um, be helpful to know if the energy is yin or yang, feminine or masculine. Um, therefore we could kind of address emotionally, psychologically, or even like from a trauma standpoint, what needs to be adjusted.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was actually another picture that was actually pretty good. I was seeing if I could find it very quickly. So,
Here's another one that it doesn't have the body. That's why I don't want to. But if you can see it there, can you guys see that picture?
Yes, sir.
yep.
It has the Pingala and Shushumna, but it doesn't have the person there. But each neutral, Shushumna is neutral, and we have the positive and the negative there, and you see how it flows at everywhere there's a zero. That's a chakra.
In audio, that zero with the slash is phase. That's interesting. That's a symbol
So
for
as you
phase.
can see it, it's just like electricity flowing, just
Yep.
like
Right,
electricity, alternating current.
right.
Exactly.
And I got a couple more. I'm going to scroll in and out. So if you
Yep. Go
see
ahead.
that, yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The body there,
Oh
but
wow.
I didn't find a comprehensive one. And I dropped it in the chat too. So
Sweet.
here's a little bit closer one where you can see transposed on the skeletal.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a good one.
So this could even affect bones.
You know,
Oh yeah. For sure.
yeah, we haven't gotten to that, but
Oh wow.
the different energy centers are connected with different body parts. But I'm
Mhm.
sure we'll get to that shortly.
Yep. For sure. Any more pictures?
Nope, I just had those 4.
All right. Cool. Anybody else? Any other questions or comments or anything?
I'm looking at this, the different pictures, and also in yoga, this was something we went through a little bit different, but it also just comes back to the fact that this is the sign that, medicine uses,
Mm-hmm.
So it's obvious that even in medicine, they know this very well, even though they treat it differently, but they know very well that there's a link to this and the physical body, the health and the well-being of the physical body.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and it's funny too because I just saw a video, and on the video he was talking about like how the chakras were fake, and I'm like, it just really goes to show the ego and the arrogance of man, that, or to say because you can't see something is fake or it doesn't exist. And I say that because, us as human beings are 99.99999% empty space. And if you took all of the empty space out of the human body, you could fit on the tip of a pen. And we can only perceive visually between infrared and ultraviolet light. So it's like a very small part of the electromagnetic spectrum that we could visually see. We can only hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So you can't hear anything less or more than that. So all of these frequencies exist outside of our perceivable reality, but yet because we can't perceive it, it doesn't exist. And what makes you think that science has even come far enough to make a machine that could be able to detect the things that they have discovered that existed, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 years ago? Like America itself is only, was only made a country in 1776, so like 300 years old. So all of this information predates the whole country of America by thousands of years. So to say that because you can't see it, it don't exist, don't make sense. But yet you see the entire medical system uses the exact symbology that is the Pingala, the Ida, and the Shushuma. So, it's just laughable to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
Very.
All right. So last thing we said was a change in consciousness creates a change in the body chemistry depending upon the needs of the moment. So that's kind of like the bridge right into the first chakra, which is called the Muladhara chakra or the root chakra. And I say that to say that the root chakra is associated with fight or flight. So you can see when the root chakra is overstimulated, aka putting you in a fight or flight situation, it now affects the physical body as well. So the root chakra or the Muladhara chakra is located at the base of the spine. So it's the lowest one. And Mula means root and Dhara means support. The Kundalini lies just beneath this chakra, making the Muladhara chakra the key to awaken this energy. And it must rise up the Sushumna Nadi. This energy center is associated with the earth element. And Nishani, you might have to help me pronounce this, but Prithivi, Prithvi.
What was that? Prithhivi?
Yeah.
Prithvi.
It
What?
just means earth.
Prithvi?
Yeah, it means earth. Yeah. Yeah. So it's associated with the earth element. The color is red. It deals with survival, vitality, stability, security. And if balanced, you feel security, humility, groundedness, stable, energetic. And if it's unbalanced, you feel insecure, fear, anxiety, unstable, low self-esteem. It's associated with your sense of smell, and it governs your understanding of the physical world. And it externalizes as the adrenal glands, which secrete adrenaline, which aka fight or flight. So you see how it all kind of merges together, and it's the foundation of our connection to Earth. So as you can see, like a lot of our postures and positions, set position, cover position, we are literally bending our knees to connect to that root chakra, aka being connected to the earth, so that we can have an energy exchange with the earth. So we strike with more than just our physical body. All right,
Can
questions
you
are coming. Go ahead.
can you run that back where you said it was the color is red and then you said it was associated with vitality and I don't recall the other ones. I'm trying to get my notes. I'm not trying, but I'm getting my notes together. So
Yeah. All right. It's associated with survival, vitality, stability, and security.
thank you. And you said if it's out of balance, it's associated with.
All right. So imbalance is security, humility, groundedness, stability, and energy. And if it's unbalanced, you have feelings of insecurity, fear, anxiety, unstable, and low self-esteem. So if you want to, like a good way to remember it is just one, think about it's associated with fight or flight. So that's obviously anxiety, worry, like all of that kind of stuff. And it's also your connection to earth and to the physical body. So you can see the security and all of that, survival. You know, it's the lowest one, physical one.
Yo, peace, instructor.
Peace, peace.
It's cool if I throw a question out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did you say what? Because I know you was going through earlier just about how there were physical or physical organs or physical pieces of the body that's connected to these. Is there a specific part of the body that's associated with this chakra?
Oh yeah, for sure. Um,
The adrenals for one, and
yeah.
the lower extremities, so the legs, ankles, feet, that type of thing. And it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And the sense of smell. So it makes sense when you talk about survival. For one, the adrenals. When you're in
Right.
fight or flight, those adrenals got to kick in so you can survive, and also your extremities so you can run, so you can
Right.
get out of there. Sense of smell is also connected with survival.
Yeah, all of that. And another thing too, what I thought was interesting is that the animal that was associated with the root chakra is the elephant. And you think of the elephant as being like totally grounded, 4 legs, all his weight, on the legs, and then it's a elephant, but he got like something around his waist, which kind of represents that Kundalini energy that's sitting at the base of the spine.
Hmm. Okay.
Did you get all your? Was that the only question you had?
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, for right now, instructor.
Okay, cool. Anybody else got questions or comments or anything on the root chakra? Did you have
Yeah.
anything else to say? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know
What you-
it vibrates at each chakra vibrates at a certain frequency. So like, what's the root chakras one?
let me grab it. I was kind of ran out of space in my notes, so I ain't write it.
Okay.
All right, 396 hertz for the root.
396.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. What'd you say?
I think he just said, okay, cool.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else questions or comments on the root chakra?
Instructor, you said 396 or 96?
396. Instructor said, did you have anything else on the root chakra?
Nope. I'm looking at my notes. No, pretty much the same thing. The only thing I'll add is just more connections on how it's connected with survival. Relationship with money, relationship with your home or your job. I know we mentioned ability to be grounded, being present in the here and now is part of that. And yeah, just connection with mother and obviously connection with the earth. Yeah.
All right. If nobody else has anything on the root chakra, then we go to the next one, which is Svadhisthana, aka the sacral chakra. So, and let me spell that because I know y'all taking notes. Is SW or SV? They have it either way. But SWADHISTHANA, aka the sacral chakra, and is located in the pelvis. It governs our sexuality, our desires. It involves the ability to experience pleasure and sensation. And whenever you hear sensation, just think of the five senses. It externalizes as the ovaries in women and the testicles in men. Its element is water. The color is orange. And if it's balanced, you feel creative, inspired, and peaceful. And if it's unbalanced, you may feel the inability to derive pleasure through the senses, a fear of sexual intimacy, or the need to seek pleasure in addictive ways. The sacral chakra is the source of our passionate emotions and embodies our innate inner wildness. So another thing you'll see is you are, as you raise through these chakras, you get less and less about like survival and, in the physical. So these lower ones are like really physical and, not necessarily spiritual like that. Emotions are the source of our indomitable power. So we have a axiom that says feelings and emotions are good servants but poor masters. And emotions are literally energy in motion. So you can either allow that energy to overtake you, or you can be in control of that energy and use it to your advantage. But either way, emotions are energy in motion. So you can either use it or allow it to use you. And really, it's just a choice of yours. And when they have no outlet, they stagnate, build up pressure, and eventually end up exploding. So that's why, when you see people like and they blow up, or it's like, oh yeah, that was the last straw. It was like because they repressed those emotions and they never, had a way to release them. And so they end up being released, due to pressure being built up as opposed to a positive outlet. So if you look at it, we said a balanced one equals creativity. So instead of me like blowing up and arguing at somebody, I can use that same energy to now create something that could be beautiful. So it's an outlet for your emotions and energy and creativity as well. And the goal is to have a balanced and healthy relationship to pleasure, neither denying it or overindulging in, aka the middle way. So all of this always comes back to the middle way. The frequency for it is 417 hertz for the sacral chakra. Color orange,
How many hertz? I'm sorry, instructor.
417.
And instructor, can you please repeat? Okay.
One at a time. Go
Well, I
ahead.
think we might.
All right.
Go ahead.
I was about to say, I think we're going to say the same thing. I have the balanced side, but not the unbalanced side.
Was that what
So
you
can
was
you?
gonna say, bro?
No, I was asking for a repeat of the acronym that you just gave us.
Oh, I ain't give an acronym.
It was a saying about emotions or something, but poor
Oh,
something. I
axiom.
didn't get all of
Axiom. Yeah,
it.
axiom.
Actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so
Sorry.
the unbalance is inability to derive pleasure through the senses, a fear of sexual intimacy, or the need to seek pleasure in addictive ways. And that is actually something that is also not talked about too much when discussing chakras, is that chakras can also be overactive as well as underactive. Like the idea is to have them to be balanced. So a lot of people just say, open your chakras, but it can also be overactive, and that the need to seek pleasure in addictive ways is like an overactive sacral chakra. Like it's too much, so you got to dial it back. And the axiom that we said is feelings and emotions are good servants but poor masters.
Hey, instructor, quick question.
Yep,
So are you saying just the same as they could be open, they also can be closed, like purposefully
exactly.
closed?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, the idea is to have balance, just like the middle way. So it's like we're not overindulging, but yet we not underindulging either. It's a middle way or middle ground, aka balance or harmony.
Let me add too, open, closed, moving too fast or moving too slow. Like I said,
Yep.
a good balance of that energy. It's a wheel, or I like to think of it like a vortex, and it spins, it moves, So again, it can move too fast or too slow, or I imagine at some point not at all.
Yeah, definitely. It can be closed. Anybody else? Questions or comments?
Yes. Can you go over balanced again? I keep missing some of what you're saying because it keeps. So my apologies if you have to keep repeating.
No worries at all. Balance is creative, inspired, and peaceful. You got it?
With the unbalanced, I got fear of sexual intimacy, needs to seek pleasure, and I think I missed one.
The inability to derive pleasure through the senses.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And this one, you could think of it because remember, it's governed by the ovaries and the testes, which are where life is created. So you can see how is it governs your creativity. Like, us as human beings have the capacity. I mean, well, not just human beings, because other people, other beings can too, but we have the ability to create another human life. So that same creativity or the same creative energy that you could use to create a human life, you can also use to create a work of art or, whatever else that you want to create, a computer, a cell phone app, or, write a computer program. Like the same energy flow is used in all creative processes. So that's a way that it can help you remember it, and a way that you can think about it is creativity and emotions. You had something else the instructor said?
Yep, I just wanted to add on that note. Uh, it's also where, because it's connected with water, it's where we store our pain and those emotions. We store them there, and it's also connected to tears. Why we cry when we're emotional. Again, that water element. Again, water is about life, that reproductive creating process. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge point. Thank you for that.
I wanted
Um,
to add, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
So a while, like in the summer, I did a little bit of research on each chakra and what blocks them and what it kind of can look like in your life, just so that I could kind of identify it. And for the sacral chakra, like when we feel we cannot create the physical expression of our life outside of the tribal authority, or it looks like low confidence, lack of motivation, or inability to form connections. So that's kind of like a sign of blockage in that chakra. What made me think of that is because Freedom just asked about if they can be open and can they be closed. So that's something that is a sign that that chakra is probably closed for you.
Oh yeah, excellent. Thank you for that. Amina just texted me and she said she wanted to add some techniques that could balance the sacral chakra, and she said that you could drink water, which we said the element is water. Wear orange clothes, or orange things, orange stones. Eat orange foods, citrus, stuff like that. So all of that also helps you to balance that sacral chakra. Thank you for that. But yeah, with that being said, that was all I had. So go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to add on the foods. Um, uh, Well, I'm gonna back up and start with the root foods. Again, root vegetables, anything that grows in the ground. So that'll help your root chakra. So carrots, onions, potatoes, turnips, those type of things that grow in the ground are root vegetables. And also for water is the things that grow right on top of the ground. So that means like melons, cucumbers, those type of vegetables and fruits for that matter.
Would that be
Perfect.
considered water soluble vegetables?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what all falls into that category.
Okay. And then I had a question. What animal is associated with the sacral?
Hold on, let me check.
Or he's looking at that up also for balancing yoga, different yoga poses that are connected with either the root or the sacral. Right off the top of my head, I know that like child's pose is one that's for rooting.
Mm-hmm.
And sacral, I believe, warrior's pose. There's a couple more. Actually, let me look them up real quick. No, I don't remember right man.
The animal for the sacral is the crocodile. You got it?
Yeah.
Tree pose instructor. Oh, pardon me. Instructor Cedric, tree pose is for the root chakra.
Okay, perfect. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Truly rooted there.
Anybody else? Questions or comments?
Can you you just gave alligator as the animal. Can
Crocodile.
he
Crocodile.
go into that? Or crocodile. Okay. Can you go into that?
I'm not sure why, to be honest.
That's
Google just
interesting.
says in
Say that again.
Google says traditional Hindu sacral chakra animal lives in water. That's all it says. And
Yeah.
it lists animals that live in the water: fish, frog, otters, dolphins. There's a wolf on here too, but I don't know why.
Yeah, some of the symbolic meanings for it is primal ancient power, emotional depth, indestructibility, dependability, birth and creation, resilience. So you can see how all of those kind of tie into the sacral chakra. Anybody else questions or comments? And if not, we're gonna just go through everybody.
I had a comment. I was reading the Book of the Dead,
Mm-hmm.
and like when it talks about like Horus projecting himself onto this reality, there is a
Mm-hmm.
crocodile that's in the water that prevents him from manifesting.
Wow.
So I think that kind of like Egyptians, they use pictures and graphics for everything. So like that could possibly be where it stemmed from, like that reptilian kind of being that lurks in the water that kind of prevents you from manifesting into the world.
Yeah. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. That's definitely seems like it ties in together. All right, Kim, questions or comments?
Uh, no questions. Today was very interesting. I think that a lot of us have basic knowledge on the chakras and what they are, and but to have the breakdown of what they actually do, the complete meaning of them, and how we can use them every day, or how they can also um, hurt us if we are unbalanced, helped a whole lot. And I can see a lot of things with myself, like when I'm unbalanced and how they all tie in together. So this was a huge help. And I'm not the greatest with my meditation, so I think that this breakdown will actually help as well. And when we get the rest of them, will help me get better in my meditation, which I appreciate. So thank you for this.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for participating and sharing everything. That's definitely appreciated. All right, Bird, you got anything for us? All right, Chanel, CJ.
Did I unmute? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I really enjoyed the lesson tonight. For me, there was a lot of new information. This is why I love these lessons, because every time it comes with more and more information. So about how the chakras are actually those intertwining points of those energies that's coming up, like the spinal column from the Kundalini rising. That was really interesting. And then I wanted to add that another way to help balance like the chakras is when you deal with the colors associated with them and the hurt. If you meditate and you put on music, you put on those hurts, like those vibrations and those frequencies, and kind of focus on those areas physically in your body and see the balls of energy around those colors. That helps a lot. And also wanted to point out that when we see things like symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of depression, symptoms of like being hard to connect to other people, like I believe it was Sister Ray mentioned, that those are also signs of imbalanced root chakras and imbalanced sacral chakras, as well as addictions are really big for imbalanced sacral chakras is usually overactive. So when you look at these things, like there's times where we all oscillate in and out of overactive, underactive, or not on. And when we meditate on those things and we pinpoint where they are in those energies, us focusing our energy on those things helps to bring balance and helps to heal those different areas. That's all I have.
For sure, yeah. Thank you. Amina had actually said, to mention the frequencies and listening to the frequencies of meditation, and you beat me to it. So she must have sent it to you telepathically.
Great minds.
Yeah. One other thing I wanted to mention too is that these chakras also have sounds associated with them. So in addition to listening to the different frequencies, you can also chant these sounds during the meditation. So the root chakra sound is Lam, Lam, and the sacral chakra sound is Vam, Vam. So you can kind of say those things when you just repeatedly when you meditate. All right, next, Emerson with Aaron on deck.
Another great lesson tonight. I appreciate you describing the Kundalini energies and then the Ida and then Pangala. These are all words, that you hear, but I'd have really had no knowledge about. And then it was sweet how the diagram kind of matched up with the symbols that you see on the ambulances all the time. So, yeah, another interesting lesson tonight for sure.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you for being here. Aaron with Freedom on deck.
Peace, instructor. I appreciate you bringing this lesson to the forefront, and I appreciate all of the lessons and the root in the sacral chakra and how to apply it to my daily life and how to know when they're balanced and imbalanced. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the lessons. So that's what I got out of it. Thank you.
Sweet, thank you. And I was gonna say too, this is just part of, our charge, which is knowing thyself. And the more that we know about ourselves and our, different energetic bodies and energy, period, chi and prana and all of that kind of stuff, the more we can use it to our advantage. Like that's the thing, a lot of us just move through life and, we are at the whim of whatever goes on. But the more that we can learn about ourselves and, our place in the universe and our interactions with the universe and universal energy, the more we can use it, use it to our advantage and not be used by it. So thank you. Freedom with Jalen on deck.
Peace, instructor, man. Great lesson, man. Just one thing I took, man, that just it might be a little abstract, but I was thinking about it the whole time. Like when you were saying just the middle way. At first, I thought you said this is the way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody else be fucking with be watching the Mandalorian, but just in the science of like even when you study him, he's not dealing with nothing sexually the whole show. He never deal with vanity. He never took helmet off. He never with any drugs. He always stayed and tried to stay at least in the middle ground and deal with a way of control over himself. So that's what I was getting at. I'm familiar with the chakras and the science of them. However, it was a lot of things that you brought to light that kind of helped me put different things in perspective, which I think was an add-on, just especially in dealing with physical body and overcoming that. And not only like you said, that was a new lesson for me, just in terms of how some chakras can be overactive. Like you said, you just get so caught up in opening them and getting them into perspective and getting them into a level of consciousness, but understanding that the true test is getting them in balance. Okay, you got them open, you understand what it means to have them open now. Get them in balance, get them in line to where they should be. So no, that was definitely dope, man. But I just wanted to throw that out there because that just kind of rung with me. It made me look at my man's in a whole different perspective. But yeah, man, thank you so much, instructor.
Thank you. Yeah, you just dropped the jewel on me. I never seen The Mandalorian. I heard about it, but I never seen it. So I'm gonna definitely go and watch that.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the Mandalorians are known for dealing with a set of values, truth, keeping a word. Never exposing themselves, dealing with things in a certain type of way, especially from a warrior perspective. So yeah. No. It was a jewel. It was a jewel because I said, damn, I want the instructor to say this is the way. But yeah, man.
Yeah, we're gonna check that out for sure.
That's where your nephew from, Instructor Keith.
Talking about Yoda. All right, Jalen with Javion on deck.
Peace. It was a good class today. It made me realize like just how much our society kind of gets ran by like the first two chakras, and like how they say sex sells, and how like we usually be in a daily practice of like having overreactive, like uh, being overactive with our first three chakras, and it like makes it hard to ascend and reach the other ones, or even like be aware that they are there because you so consumed with the bottom three or bottom two. But it really helped a lot, so I appreciate all these.
Yeah, I was gonna say you just opened up a whole can of worms right there.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, boy, you dropped one. I was gonna add to that, Jalen. It's by design, not accident. Oh, eat the
It
appetite.
definitely seemed like design.
Oh, it's absolutely by design.
Yep. Yep, I was gonna say the exact same thing. They want to keep you in those lower three chakras, so you don't ascend to your higher self. Like that's why to me the chakras are so sweet, is because like it's literally broken down into the lower self and the higher self. Like you got the three lower ones, you got the heart as the bridge, and then you got the three upper ones. So the more they keep you, functioning in your lower self, you never want to ascend to higher, better heights as far as the chakras are concerned. They want to keep you there. So yeah, good observation. We appreciate that. Thank you for being here too.
Thank you.
Yep. Javion with Kemet on deck.
Peace, family. Great lesson today, instructors. This really just opened my eyes for my meditation. Amplifying it and bringing it meaning. I've noticed recently that I know I've been vibrating higher when I'm meditating and when I'm like embracing the tree and things like that. But I haven't been able to associate it with anything like bringing it to life. Like maybe I feel this way, or maybe uh I see something and I just can't put my finger on it. I just feel my energy going up, but now I can be more focused and more intentional on uh where I place my energy and how I go about raising it up through the chakras. So thank you.
I was gonna say you said something interesting too. I'm not sure if you even recognized it, but you said I noticed myself vibrating higher. And if you look at the chakras, they increase in vibratory frequency as you move up. So it's like now, as you said, it's literally a higher vibration, like not just figurative or not just words, but actually vibrating higher or faster vibratory rate. So
True.
Kemet with Lovely on deck.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
You can't hear me. You shook your head. I'm good. I can keep talking. Okay. So thank y'all for y'all presence this evening. I'm glad y'all got back to the series. I remember being in class when the instructor said you started the root chakra, and we said we'll go through them all. I mean, I just feel like I was taking it in. I feel like I was a little bit tired catching up with the other classes online. I did want to mention I got this chart, and it was talking about or I know we associated the root chakra with red, but I wanted to bring awareness to the chart says that the root chakra is also associated with all the fire signs, so Aries, Leos, and Sagittarius, and the sacral is associated with all the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And I guess just in my fatigue, just wanting to be present in how I do my own due diligence and bringing more awareness to um, how, the condition of my centers, and I guess being even more proactive in alleviating or correcting, creating solutions for, you know, getting up and through my crown, or I guess just sitting with them more, creating a deeper meditation for the presence of each one, and creating an even more understanding awareness of how I become aware of, where I'm at with each energy center, and how to, overcome. So I'm just grateful to be here, to be reminded more of the chakras and put more intention into bettering myself with this tool. So yeah, uh, that's it.
Thank you. Glad you made it. I forgot to send you the link individually, so I'm glad you were, thought about us and made it here. So we
Can you
appreciate
repeat
you.
that
I just said thank you for making it here. I forgot to send you the link personally, like text you the link. So I'm glad you thought about us and were able to make it and be here. And we always appreciate you your sharing and everything that you got out of it. So thank you.
again? I say.
All right, lovely with Nishani on deck.
Um, Class was great. Um, I read a book before about chakras and everything, but that was years and years and years ago. But to go back through them and hear them in this manner, I can see flashes in my own life where I've been balanced and unbalanced. So it just brings to surface being present and paying more attention to my past and where I am now. So that was great. And I really appreciate it and look forward to the rest.
Thank you. That's all this about is awareness. That's how the last two eightfold path is right mindfulness, being mindful of the happenings, and then right concentration. So definitely appreciate that, and glad you represents us to just being aware. So thank you.
Thank you.
Nishani with Paul on deck.
Thank you, instructors. I really do appreciate all of the insights. I want to start with that. And I really like how everybody's commentary kind of touched on everything I basically wanted to talk about also. Um, the keeping us on the bottom levels, and how it's connected to astrology, how it's all connected. When we study about the chakras, and I feel like the chakras are thrown in our faces like it's a very um, posh, new, hippie vibe thing. I think a lot of people, I hear them talk about it as if it's a very simple thing, but it's like even with all the information, there's not enough information, and there's so much to learn about it. And I'm a fire sign, so I'm at the bottom. And I get told all the time as a Sagittarius that I'm supposed to be um, focused on the pleasure aspect, where the party goers and all this stuff. And people who really know me don't really see that, so they're very confused. And I still find myself battling with that side of the truth and then what I'm learning about myself. And I noticed that as we learn more about it and as you become more aware of your chakras and where they land, that vibration that you give off, people coming in and out of your life, and not very many people stay. Like I've lost a lot of friends. They've just disappeared, and I've kind of allowed that to happen, and I've not really held on to it anymore. Just like, oh, we gotta stay friends. We have to keep. Um, so I definitely noticed that as we kind of evolve and learn about each chakra and how it translates in our lives, I noticed that our vibrations change, and that by definition transcends to everybody around us. And not everybody's on this path. So as a therapist, like even in my work, I find um, so many people that I just wish I could just like share this and they would understand it and they could just see it for what it is and get out of this like and the addictive behaviors and the anxiety. And I just, sometimes I kind of want to like really just it's right here. It's right here. You just gotta hear what I'm saying. So um yeah, so that's really what I've been resonating with. Thank you very much, everybody, for the input. I really, really appreciate it. And I will be there tomorrow. I'm so excited to return to class.
Thank you for being here, and we're excited to have you back. And we could do a class on vibrations, and I think it'd be a good class. But just long story short, is that you know, um, like attracts like. So when you are vibrating at a certain frequency, like people literally cannot be around you because the frequencies are destructive. They destructively interfere. So it's like either they raise up to yours or they dismiss themselves or they bring you down to them. So that's why or part of the reason why we are so intentional about setting the space at the dojo or the Ibamu is because we don't want just anybody off the street coming in there and affecting our space and our vibration. So it's like people that come in but they don't stay long. They just come in, hey, I'm checking things out, and then they walk right back out the door because the frequency is so high they literally cannot be in there. So thank you for that. Paul with Ryder on deck.
Peace, y'all. Thank you, instructors, for the knowledge, as always, and your time, most importantly. Tonight just highlighted for me how much, really, I don't want to say how much more, but just being consistent in the work that it is that I know I need to do for me. So yeah, just kind of highlighted for me the work that I need to be continually doing.
Yep. It's a reminder for us all. So thank you. Rada with Ray on deck. Ray, go ahead. I'm not sure if Rada can speak.
Oh, I put the the camera on mute, not the
Uh,
or on mute, not the audio. But I was just saying I was really appreciating this information tonight. Just thinking of being inwardly formed by it and using it this week going forward in a very functional way. And just being more present to the chakras and working with that medicine. And really looking forward to going in on the throat chakra. When is that happening? But
so that
yeah.
wouldn't be this week coming up, but it'll be the week after that.
Right on. All right. But thank
Because
you.
we're doing two at a time. So the next one is solar plexus and heart, and then it'll be throat, and third eye. Oh, yeah, thank you. We appreciate you. Ray?
Class was really cool. I like the content. I learned a lot. Like I think that, like you said in the beginning, a lot of people have some familiar, like are somewhat familiar with the chakras, but to actually learn about it on a more technical level that you don't necessarily see every day was really cool. And I think, like CJ said, I think it was CJ, but or it was mentioned earlier about being able to kind of read. Oh, I think it was Kimmy, but being able to read or focus your meditations kind of on different chakras is something that I'm thinking about doing now. I think the timeliness is really, really perfect because I was just saying earlier how I was feeling somewhat ungrounded. So being able to go to the root specifically and just work my way up in meditations will definitely be something that I think will be helpful.
Sweet, perfect. Glad we could be of service. Rafa with Salama on deck.
Peace, everybody. Don't got much tonight. I think that what I felt, everybody touched on for the most part. I feel a little stupid, but I'm looking at the chakra charts and I see the rainbow and the colors, and it just never dawned on me until I started looking at it. Um, it's kind of cute, but other than that, everything was touched on. I am super duper duper interested in diving into the other chakras. So, great class tonight. Great class.
Thank you for being here. As always, thank you for your dedication. And I was gonna say next week we'll start at the bottom and go up because it seemed like the other people taking all the people with the names further down the alphabet. So we'll start at the bottom next time and go up. All right, Salama.
I just want to say peace and love, family. Thank you so much for everybody's input. Thank you, instructor, for getting us together another amazing lesson. And I've had, I've been, as Kimmy said, we all have a little bit of knowledge on the chakras. And I've been this year in particular with Toya Hankins. Some of you might know her. She does Reiki. Just working with her a little bit, and she gave me, some pointers and, some new knowledge on it. And it's interesting. And what I got from tonight is basically how, like, all the things that I got from her and then what we put together tonight and all the things I've learned over time. It just really, what really stood out to me is how powerful this is, how powerful the chakras are in our entire being and its existence. It's interesting, like we talked about, how that sign is in medicine. It's in medicine, so they know what it means, where it comes from, why it's even, why they have it there, why it's there, because it's the overall, it affects our overall being, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. They know that. And it's interesting how they have decided to come up now with the fact that saying it's fake, this fake comment is actually, it's the fear of the mass new awareness of this, because there's always been an awareness of chakras, but now it's on a mass scale. And so that thing coming out of just straight out saying it's fake, it's like a kid on a playground, being like, oh, that's just fake. Like, it's been out for so long, the information, and they never have attacked it in that way. They've attacked it differently. They attacked it by saying, oh, it's actually evil. It's connected to, it's devil worshiping if you do anything with the chakras, kundalini, zodiac, horoscopes and all these things. And the reality is, back then, they were, by saying that, they were actually telling on themselves and saying it has so much power that in order for us to scare people away from it, we'll say that it's evil. But now, because it's become such a mass thing, it's like, oh, we got to get them completely away from it. Let's just tell them it's fake, because now nobody even cares about evil or good or whatever, because now people know that evil might not be necessarily that evil, and good might not. So now they're just like, tell them it's fake. So I find that interesting, because that new approach of fake and the old approach of it being evil is very telling to the fact that they're very aware how powerful it is, and that now that the masses have begun to really explore it. You speak to any young kid and they'll tell you, most young kids from the age of even 7 up can tell you something basic about the chakras. If they can't tell you everything, they can tell you all the colors. You know what I'm saying? Which is deep, because that wasn't the case even 5 or 10 years ago. So I think that it speaks to the fact of what the time is right now, of how powerful right now is, how this amazing power is getting in the hands of all the quote unquote right people, the masses. So I think that's really what tonight's lesson spoke to me. Brought to my forefront, is how we're at a really beautiful time in so many ways, even though people are seeing like, oh, so many people are dying from the pandemic, but people have been dying at this rate for years. We're just focusing on it. The fact is, it's a really powerful time. And that's I know that was a lot of words, but that's what I got out of this lesson. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you spoke on a lot of important things, but one of the things is that, even the Shiny talked about it too, but like with everything being connected, connected to astrology, and every 2,160 years, we enter into a new zodiacal age. And the zodiacal age that we're in now is the age of Pisces. And Pisces govern belief. So, a lot of people believed in a lot of these religions and, believed there was witches and believed, et cetera, et cetera. And then we move from age of belief, aka Pisces, into the age of Aquarius, which is the water bearer, which is the age of information. So the age of knowing. So we move out of the age of belief and into knowing. And so it's right on time. It's already written. It's just playing out down here, but it is what it is. It's in the stars. But thank you for
Another
that.
thing I wanted to attach to that, or connect with that, was the fact that the fear of us also having this power is, it's been such a long time that they've actually used that to maintain a sense of control and to guide us and to move us in so many directions through the chakras, through the colors, tapping into those through media, as I believe somebody spoke of. Was it? I don't recall who spoke of it, but they spoke of the media, and that's another thing, is like, there's so many things tied into that control through our chakras, through sound, through color, through sight, through smell, all these things that they've tied in through it to our society. And once we gain this sense of power over this, then all of those things unravel, all of
You're
them.
right.
And that's a great deal of power that will be unraveled through sight, through all our senses that they've been using the chakras themselves to control us. So yeah.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. Thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. All right, Instructor Nate.
You know, I honestly don't have a whole lot to say, but this class has been incredibly insightful and very helpful. Like, I swear the way instructor trained us was so different. And like, he just straight up skipped a few things, it seemed like, in our training because he had to get so much into us, like, so fast. And I have what I had from my class and what's in my black white manual, but I know that's for a different point in space time. But this class has been literally given me a foundation for everything that instructor gave me. And I never realized how powerful it really was until just now in this particular moment in space time, because he just like kind of took us right there, and I didn't even realize it until now. So this has been insane, and I really like it. Like, I honestly feel like I'm on fire and electricity's running through my body and all kinds of crazy stuff's going on. So thank you, Instructor Keith. This has been awesome. And thank you to all the students, too, because you all pay really close attention. You don't just hear, you listen and you take it in, you make it yours. And everything you all say is very powerful, too. And I get a lot from you all. So I appreciate you all. So peace, love, safety, and light be with every one of you.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you. And it was just what we talked about earlier with, you know, the perks of this digital means of communication, because, like, you know, it gives us an outlet to be able to share through this medium certain, you know, intellectual things that we wouldn't necessarily have the time or space to get to in the physical dojo, because we only have, you know, such a limited amount of time to be able to get everything in that we need to get in. So this extra curricular, you know, medium allows us to talk about the information that we wouldn't necessarily get in the dojo. So thank you for being here. Thank you, you know, for everything, and I'm glad you're here, safe, and all of that good stuff. We appreciate you.
Likewise, brother. And honestly, it goes back to that word relationship. Like, we're developing such a relationship with the discipline and like the knowledge and the information behind it to empower ourselves on a level that it's going to be rather wild to see what's going to happen when we get it back on the floor, at least here in Colorado. I know you guys are all training, but I imagine each one of your classes after this little training sessions here are just like our most important classes were when we sat down and talked. I used to always be like, what? I like hate talking, but now I love it, so it's awesome.
Oh yeah, we definitely see a difference on the floor too when, you know, we go through this. So yeah, thank you, Instructor Cedric.
Yeah. Boy, it was a lot said, but what came to mind during that process is all roads lead to meditation. And what I mean by that is, connecting it to the chakras, is that Instructor Keith started it off. The first thing he said was, when you have a thought, it affects your body. And pretty much the chakra is that conduit, or that plexus between the immaterial and the material. So your thoughts can hurt your body and it can heal your body. And with that being said, they are not static. So balance is not a static thing. It's always a lot of little minute adjustments. So something like standing on one foot, you're not just going to stand there and just be totally solid, rock solid. You're going to make tiny, minor adjustments all the time, and your chakras will do the same thing. So you get off, course correct. But again, the thing I want to drive home is the course correction is the way you think. Simple as that. So going back to the Eightfold Path, right thought, right views, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, great class.
Yeah, that was the mic drop right there. So I don't have nothing else. Anybody else, questions or comments? Definitely appreciate the attendance today too. We had 23 people, at one point. So that's a great turnout as always, and let's keep it going, keep it building, and just a small thing. So they actually offered for me to cancel this class or put this on hold, but we said we couldn't do it. Too much momentum, too much benefit for everybody involved, and we decided to keep this going. So thank you all for making this what it is and what it has been. And look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, Saturday, next week, and etc. So nobody
Can't
else has
stop
any.
now. Can't stop now. This is like, yeah, they'd be like falling off like endless cliff. For real.
Thank you, instructor.
Thank you. Good night. Peace, everybody. Enjoy your night.
Peace.
Good night.
Peace and love, y'all.
Peace.
Peace and love, family.